In these series of videos titled PMO Spiritual Warfare, what we've come to understand is that PMO, that is pornography and masturbation orgasm, is not simply and only a human activity. But when a human person, a man or a woman, is doing PMO, pornography, masturbation, orgasm, there are also spiritual and supernatural and invisible forces behind the scenes taking place as well. We've actually seen in the first four of our videos that there's four ways, and there are more, and we're going to look at another one today, and the next one will be number 6. But we've identified four ways in which the devil or a demon is involved behind the scenes when a man is doing PMO. From the beginning to the second stage, and the third stage, and the fourth stage, we've seen that when a man is doing PMO, he's not only doing something that is a human activity, but behind the scenes, the devil is also equally as involved in seducing this particular man to do PMO. It's not an exaggeration to say that a man is not going to be able to break free from the addiction of PMO unless he understands that and begins to do spiritual warfare to be set free from this addictive habit of PMO. Now, today we'd like to look at a fifth way in which demonic activity is taking place behind the scenes when a man has done PMO. Now, excuse me, this PMO process has stages to it. There's the initial stage, the evil one addresses and approaches this man who has a weakness in sexual matters. Satan understands that a man has sexual weaknesses, so he advances that man, trying to get a foothold in that man's life, sexually speaking, so that he can defeat him and discourage him in this matter of sexuality. Second stage, the devil's involved in tempting the man. The third stage is that when the man begins the process of PMO, the devil produces lies that encourages the man to continue to proceed toward orgasm. The fourth level is the Satan then becomes the deceiver, and he deceives the man who's doing PMO to get him to the process of ultimately reaching an orgasm, doing masturbation orgasm. But there's a fifth way that the devil is involved as well. Once the man has been approached and the devil has got a foothold, once the devil has tempted the man with bait, once the man is moving in that direction, the devil lies to the man, he deceives the man, and of course, and eventually the man does masturbate and reaches the goal of PMO, which is really orgasm. Now the man is faced with the fact that it simply wasn't something pleasurable, but behind that temptation and that bait is a hook. And now the devil is very, very happy at this particular point in time to show the man that there are consequences to breaking God's commandments. And the consequences are the devil now assumes the posture of being an accuser of the man who has done PMO. In other words, not only does a man's conscience begin to kick in and say to him that he has failed, but the accuser, that is the devil, the serpent, Satan, now turns around and begins to attack and accuse the one who has done PMO and accusing them of having sinned, having broken God's law, having failed again, convincing the man and accusing the man of not only having failed, but having become now a failure of a person. And there is guilt, and there is shame, and there is remorse, and there is self-condemnation. And the devil may even whisper into that man's ear and tell him that there is no hope for him now that he has once again committed this process of PMO. And so the devil has a way of influencing the man who does PMO, but once he's reached that orgasm, very soon thereafter, he approaches him as the accuser. If one is laying blame in the lap of the person who's done it and telling him once again he has failed in the sight of God. He is a failure. And then shame and guilt and remorse, all those things tend to follow up. And that's not only something that the man does to himself, but is something that the devil equally is very much behind, wanting to show the man that he's failed and convince the man that he is a failure, and really ultimately tell the man that there really is no hope because of what he has done and the condemnation that can come because of that. Here's a fifth way in which the devil shows up in this process of PMO, as in once the man has failed and committed that masturbation orgasmic event, then the devil shows him the hook and the consequences, the shame, the guilt, the remorse, the condemnation. And now the man is awash in all of those sorts of feelings and thoughts and beliefs, as well as he has to look at himself and look at how he has failed. Perhaps he has failed his girlfriend, or he's failed his fiance, or perhaps he's failed his family, his wife, his marital vows, and so forth and so on. This matter of being an accuser is oftentimes used in the scriptures, if not always used in the scriptures, in a context of a court setting, where a man is done something wrong. There's the accuser who brings the accusations against the man that he has sinned, he has failed, he's broken the law, and he deserves to be punished. Oftentimes in a ecclesiastical court or in a Roman court, there's one who is told who he has done wrong, he's broken the law, and the accuser comes and accuses him in that court of having done wrong, being a failure, and deserves punishment. And that's exactly what the devil tries to do after a man has done PMO. Okay, now there are other ways in which, there's one more way in which the devil tries to have an influence in the life of this man who does PMO. But this fifth way that he does it, and he's very good at doing it, that once the man has broken the law and he is guilty, the accuser comes and accuses him of being guilty, being a failure, and is very, very happy now that the one who has done PMO is feeling very guilty, very remorseful, very discouraged, very defeated, and perhaps even very hopeless. Okay? Now there's one more step to the PMO that we'll look at in our next video, but the devil is not only very much behind that, but of course human activity as well. As the man continues this PMO habit, the devil shows up in one additional way that we'll look at in our next video together.